Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So I'm back with another video, and of course it has to do with mental health because like I said before, I'm gonna be posting a new video in regards to mental health each week of May, which is Mental Health Awareness Month. And so for this video, I'm gonna talk about toxic environments and how that affects mental health. So basically, I want to start with what is a toxic environment. A toxic environment is any environment or situation where you feel unhappy, you feel stressed, you feel like you can't be yourself, you feel bad for being yourself, your self-esteem is not at the level that it's supposed to be. Like, for example, if you have a toxic work environment, the idea of actually even like stepping foot or going to work just makes you get a panic attack or makes you feel super stressed, cause anxiety, and you just don't want to be there. That could be signs of a toxic environment. Obviously, there are going to be jobs that we just don't like, but there's a difference between not liking your job and then actually having like a physical response or an emotional response to being at your job. There's also being in toxic relationships, whether it be friendships or romantic. If your friend always belittles you or is insensitive to you or is always putting you down, not making you feel that you can be yourself, that's a toxic friendship. If your significant other is verbally abusing you, calling you derogatory names, physically abusing you, or just mentally abusing you too, just telling you that you will never amount to anything or that you're problematic or whatever the case may be, that is also a toxic relationship. You can have toxic habits. Like for me, for example, a toxic trait that I have is that basically if something doesn't go my way, I get upset. And that's part of having or wanting control over certain situations, which obviously you can't have control over a lot of things. And so one of the things that I've been trying to work on in regards to that is having more patience and letting things run its course without getting mad about it. So though that's basically what a toxic trait or a toxic environment is. Why is a toxic environment or trait detrimental to your mental health? Some of the reasons are just the physical response that you can get being in a toxic environment, like, getting that nervous, anxious feeling when you're getting in this situation or you're close to the situation. That can over time wear on your emotions and your physical health and just overall make you feel really down. There's going to be a dip in your mood, loss of interest, loss of energy. And so that with time, the more physical response you have, the more it affects your health. And it could lead you to things like drugs and alcohol, because some people just don't know how to cope with what they're going through, or some people don't even realize that they're in a toxic situation. Some people think that what they're going through is normal, and that could be because of years of this toxicity that they've lived even in childhood, and then that translated to teenage and then adulthood. So just becoming really depressed, becoming really anxious, getting panic attacks, not wanting to eat. Some people can self-harm, and just that constant being in that environment can affect you that way. It can also affect how we interact with other people. In friendship-wise, because we're in a toxic environment, we might not want to share as much or be as close to people as much, or something they do can affect us in a negative way, or if they do something we could get upset about it and become really irritable for no reason, but because it's like a trigger, then we get upset with that person when in reality they don't really have to do anything with the problem, or in relationships, you obviously are going to pull away from that person, or in some cases, because most of us accept the love we think we deserve, we're going to submit to that person but still feel bad about it, but we just don't know what to do about it. Or it could be, if it's like a toxic environment, we can still pull away from the significant other because we're stressed with that situation, that it's taking all our energy and draining us, that we just don't have the time or energy to put into our significant other's relationship. Also, if it's something with a toxic trait that we have, obviously that's going to affect the friendships and relationships we have, because if we're controlling, or if we have a bad attitude, or if we're a pushover, that's all going to translate into every friendship or relationship that we have. If we're a pushover, then that person's going to take advantage of us. Or if we get angry easily, then obviously the person's going to be affected by that. So all that toxicity can affect many different areas in our lives. So if I personally have toxic traits that I'm not dealing with, then that's going to affect how I relate to other people. And it's probably going to translate into my work environment. If it's my work environment, it's going to translate into my personal, how I feel, and then how I interact with others. If it's my relationship, it's going to affect how I feel, and then also translate into my work environment, how I deal with others. So it's all connected. So the main question that was asked of me in regards to toxicity, or things that wear you down mentally, is how do you get rid of it? How do you shake it off? And it's hard. I'm gonna first say that removing anything toxic from your life is not easy. There's no magic formula, no magic potion. It's not a switch that you can just flip on and off. It takes hard work, and it takes discipline, and it takes dedication. And it also depends on the situation that you're in. If you're in a work environment that's toxic, then you can just try to find another job. And for the most part, it's pretty easy, especially if you have the experience and the degree or whatever, to get another job, to get something that makes you happy, that fulfills you, that makes you feel accomplished, that makes you feel like you're putting in the effort and seeing the fruit of your labors. It's pretty easy to get another job. Now, if it's a relationship, it's going to be a little harder and trickier, because there's so many emotions involved. And when emotions get involved, it's really hard to let go of certain things, because emotions make us have such a strong hold on certain things. Most of us have a hard time between emotion and logic. For me, I try to use my logic more, but sometimes my emotions get the best of me, and that's a lot of the reason for that is because I feel everything so deeply. So a lot of that, I feel like that's why I kind of struggle with balancing the two. But it's important, and I've said this before, to not allow your emotions to control you. It's important to allow your emotions to indicate that something's wrong and not dictate what you should do next. And so when it comes to relationships, it's really hard to get out of that situation. That's why there's so many women who stay in abusive relationships, because they just want to be loved, and they haven't either experienced that love as a child, and so all their life they were just searching for love. Then this person gives them attention at first, and then starts verbally abusing them and physically abusing them, emotionally abusing them, but they stick around because they don't see the value in themselves, and they think, this is all I'm gonna get, this is all I'm worth, and if I leave, who else is gonna love me? And so that thought process, which is also toxic, kind of contributes to why women stay in such abusive relationships. Many also, if they have a child with that person, they say, why I don't want to leave because of the child, not realizing that the child would do better out of that relationship than in. I can't speak for everyone, but a few people that I've talked to that had experienced a toxic relationship between their parents said that they felt relieved once their parents split and they were taken out of that situation. They were being affected by everything that was going on between their parents, whether their parents tried to hide it from them or not. They could still feel that, and children carry a lot of what goes on in the family, whether the adults think or not. They're always watching, they're always listening, and so that carries on with them. And so I've spoken to a lot of people, and they say that they're thankful that their mom or dad took the initiative to take them out of that situation. And I know it's hard because some people their lives are threatened, and either the person says that, they're going to kill them or they're going to kill themselves. But there are a lot of resources out there. I'll try to link some down in the description that can help battered women. And it's just important to take that initial step of saying that you don't want to be in that situation, that you want the help, and kind of going from there and seeing what your options are. So when it comes to cleansing yourself of toxicity, it's also hard because most of us don't even think we're toxic. Most of us think that we're fine and that it's either the other person or this situation or whatever, and sometimes we don't take the time to actually see ourselves and kind of self-evaluate. And so I think the first step in trying to get rid of toxicity in our own life is just to self-evaluate, to be honest with ourselves, to take the time to ask those hard questions like, okay, but could I have reacted in a different way? Did my reaction cause this to happen? All these different things. Like I've said in other videos, you always have to have a plan, what steps you're going to take in order to change your situation. You can't just say, okay, I'm going to do this and then that's it. It's a good goal to have, like, okay, I want to get out of this toxic work environment. I want to get out of this toxic relationship. I want to change this toxic trait. So how are you going to do that? So you have to come up with a plan, the steps. I'm going to search for a job. I'm going to put my resume, make a resume, apply to these jobs that fit what I do, the experience I have. In terms of relationship, I'm going to find these resources. I'm going to talk to this therapist. I'm going to reach out to these people to help me. And then for yourself, writing things down, making a challenge for yourself, like today, I'm not going to lose my temper, or I'm going to be more patient, or I'm going to be more grateful. Things like that, having a plan and then sticking to it, having the discipline to do it for yourself, for your mental health, and just keep doing it and keep working towards the goal, even on the days that you're scared, even on the days that you're uncertain, even on the days that you're just don't feel like doing it. Just keep going, keep pushing, keep searching, because at the end of the day, your mental health will thank you, yourself will thank you, and you're gonna be a happier, better, stronger person, and you're gonna be able to come out of the other end of the situation, knowing that if you made it through that, you can make it through anything, and that your mental health is more important than a job, it's more important than a person, and it's important to you overall to be a better person for yourself and for those around you. These are basically my little tips on how to identify a toxic environment, how it affects your mental health, and what to do to remove yourself from toxicity. Thank you for watching, and I hope that you were able to get something out of this video. And remember that your mental health matters. Don't let anyone make you feel inferior if you have a mental illness, and you are loved and you are stronger than your mental illness.